You may be surprised with what I'm about to say, but it comes from years of promoting and being promoted. Communication is the single most essential tool you need for promotion. Not strategy, not technical skills, perhaps it's even more important than networking, at least in some respect. There's no doubt in my mind that the key to unlocking your progress is that one skill. If you want to rise as a manager, communication is what takes you there. And why? Because every decision about you, your competence, your leadership, your readiness for the next role is filtered through how you communicate. Even if you do the best possible job and meet all your KPIs, it means nothing if you can't communicate. My name is Marcel, I'm a chartered manager, and over the last 20 years I've seen good, bad and ugly examples of communication. If there was one skill that in my opinion distinguishes good managers from great ones, is the ability to communicate. So today we're going to deconstruct this, how to avoid the trap of irrelevant communication, what executive style communication really looks like, how to manage the frequency of touch points at different levels. Yes, they do vary a lot. And the golden rule: concise, action focused with clear responsibility. The reason communication is related so tightly to promotion is simple. Managers aren't judged by output anymore. An engineer is judged on code, a designer on mock-ups, a sales rep on closed deals. These are tangible achievements, but a manager? We are judged on clarity, influence and direction. You must realize that communication is literally the product that you ship. This is the prism used by everyone around you, not just the senior executives, to see you. If your comms are messy, unfocused or irrelevant, people assume your leadership is exactly the same. If your comms, however, are sharp, calm and directive, people assume that you're ready for more. This is why some people plateau despite being smart and hardworking. They never upgrade their communication style. I'm sure you've seen them. Brilliant operators who for some reasons can't move upwards. I claim the reason is most likely their communication skill set, or lack of it. Before we go into how to improve it, let's define the line. Too much communication looks like this: endless CCs on emails, just in case, rambling meeting updates with no clear action, constant status pings that waste everyone's time. Over-communication makes you look insecure, like you need to justify your existence by showing activity. It drains trust and attention, and both of those are resources in very short supply for those above. Executive-style communication looks almost the opposite. Short, sharp updates that highlight decisions made, clear actions, who owns them, and deadlines. Framing information for relevance, not for completeness. It's the difference between talking to prove you're busy and talking to prove you're in control. I hope this is clear, but if not, think of a colleague who can talk for hours but nothing comes out of it. And now imagine you are the boss. Imagine asking for an update and hearing the cascade of stories, irrelevant information and undefined questions. And now imagine that someone else answers your request with a 30-second summary, after which you not only know what happened, but also what needs to happen and by whom. Which of these two are you more likely to promote? Yeah, the one with the clear comms. So let's talk about the frequency of communication, because it isn't evenly spread and you have to be careful about it. In my experience, this part is overlooked all the time. When it comes to your team and peers, frequency should be high. It's a short touch points, often, perhaps daily check-ins, Slack updates, a quick 2-minute chat. Fluency is the key word here. It needs to be frequent enough and light enough to flow, because this builds rhythm, creates psychological safety and prevents surprises. But with senior executives, the opposite applies. You don't want to flood them with noise. You want them to expect a clear, valuable update when you speak. Most likely, they will ask you, and you won't be able to initiate the communication anyway. Even if you are in a position to start the conversation, the logic still applies. Short and concise. Think of it like this: the higher you go, the scarcer your words should be. The time is a precious commodity, and the higher you are in the org chart, the more you spread yourself thinly. Respect that commodity through your comms. Also, when you do communicate upwards, it has weight. It lands with decision makers and they are primed to decide. Irrelevant gossip may not be so innocent for them as it is for you. They may interpret that as a call to action. So weigh your words carefully there. Okay, so now we know we have to be careful and adjust how we communicate. But what does that mean in practice? Well, there's a formula for good management communication, and it's ridiculously simple. Combine 3 ingredients: concise, action focused, and allocated responsibility. Concise means say it in 2 sentences, not 10. If you need slides, use bullets, not paragraphs. Action focus means what needs to happen, not just what's happening. Let's go over a practical example. Let's say we need to say sales are down 8%. Well, that's information. Sales are down 8%, so we're doubling outreach to past clients this week is leadership. Responsibility clear means who's doing it. No, someone should look into this. Instead say, Alex, you own this by Friday. Or sales are down 8%, so we're doubling outreach to past clients this week through Mike and Teresa, who handled them previously. This style of communication makes people trust you. It makes you promotable because it shows that you can drive outcomes, not just share updates. Let me stress this again. You become promotable because every time you communicate, you bring clearly defined solutions to the table, not problems. And it doesn't mean you always have answers. No, it simply means you are solution focused. Let's say the sales are down and you aren't sure what to do with it. The poke homes would be sales are down and we're stuck. And good communication would be a message along the lines of sales are down 8% and we are exploring options. I asked Tom from finance to dissect the profit and loss accounts, and I asked Mike and Teresa to formulate a reach out campaign. I will let everyone know by Friday the outcomes of both so we can decide on a strategy. Sounds better, doesn't it? You still don't know what to do, but you have clearly communicated plans for possible solutions, along with timelines and the people involved. Alright, let me give you 5 concrete shifts you can make tomorrow, because the earlier you start, the more of a habit this becomes. Start with the headline. Executives don't want the story, they want the result. So just say the main point first, trim the detail. If they want more, they'll ask. Use the following structure: problem, action, owner, deadlines. Done. Set cadence deliberately. Daily touch points with team, weekly summaries with peers, monthly or milestone updates with execs. If you do it in the wrong proportion, your team will work in the dark and your executive team will think that you're scared of your own shadow. And pause before you hit send. Ask, is this communication useful or am I just proving I'm busy? Nothing shows the lack of agenda and responsibility as a flood of emails. If you remember nothing else, please remember this. Communication is not an add-on thing. It's the job. It's the job. Crucially, please remember that communication ultimately is a skill. So even if you're not great at it now, you can develop that muscle by continuous training. Flex it until it hurts. Always think of your audience. Managers who learn to speak with clarity, frequency, in the right places, and executive level conciseness are the ones who get promoted, not because they're louder, but because they make everyone else's job easier. And that's the kind of manager people want to follow. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe and let me know in the comments what challenges have you had with communication. And please stick around. We have more content on developing the best management techniques and systems. I'll see you in the next one.